Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, a great big welcome to you. Today I have another delicious keto recipe that I know you all are going to appreciate and love. Today we have keto gluten-free coconut flour donuts. Everybody likes donuts, yes, but as we all know, they are horrible for us until today. These donuts are delicious, 100% keto, gluten-free, and so tasty. Now, I have made another video on donuts before, on low-carb donuts, but if you have checked that out, you've probably noticed that it is not 100% keto and it is not gluten-free. And this recipe here is 100% keto and 100% gluten-free, so all of my friends that have gluten intolerance, you can still have a donut. And if you want a printable version of this, you can check out my website at janetsdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find printable versions of these and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of delicious keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out a new video. And if you want to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some Amazon affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those Amazon affiliate links, a small portion will go to me, which will help to support the channel. Even if you don't want the item that it routes you to, in the Amazon search bar, you just put in whatever you want to buy, whatever you purchase, as long as you're using my affiliate link, a small portion will go to me, which will help to support the channel. And while you do all that, let's get cooking.
Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Generously spray 3 to 4 hot dog bun molds, or if you don't have any hot dog bun molds, then you can make foil holders. I'll leave a link in the description to my article on my website about how to make foil holders. You would use the ones that are for sub rolls. You can also use a regular donut pan with about 6 to 8 donut cavities. If you use a traditional donut pan, I suggest using a silicone one. The metal ones really like to stick, so I would suggest, if you're doing it in a regular donut pan, to go for silicone. The metal ones, they don't do very well. But we here are doing bars. Once you generously spray the hot dog bun molds, then place them on a baking sheet and set that aside for a minute. In a large mixer bowl, combine a half cup of coconut flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/3 cup of brown Swerve or brown sugar sweetener of your choice. You can also use 1/3 cup of monk fruit sweetener or granulated sweetener instead. I'm using the brown Swerve here because I like a little bit of a almost maple flavor to my donut. But if you'd rather just a neutral flavored donut, then you can use the granulated monk fruit sweetener or granulated sweetener of your choice. Add a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon and a 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Again, these two are optional. I like to pack as much flavor as I can into everything I bake, so I like a little bit of spice to my donuts. If you want a neutral flavored donut, you can just leave those out. Whisk the dry ingredients all together until it's fully combined. Make sure there are no lumps in the coconut flour, or if you're using the brown Swerve, make sure there's no lumps in the brown Swerve. If you need to, you can get your fingers in there and rub out any large lumps of the brown Swerve. It's okay if there's small lumps, you just want all the big lumps rubbed completely out. So if you need to, use your fingers, because sometimes brown Swerve can be a little sticky. If you are wanting to make this into a chocolate donut, instead of doing a 1/2 cup of coconut flour, you can do 1/4 cup of coconut flour and 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. And then if you're using vanilla extract, just reduce the amount of vanilla extract to about a 1/2 teaspoon rather than a whole teaspoon. If you do make this chocolate, make sure the cocoa powder gets really thoroughly combined. It's another thing that can chunk up on you, so really make sure it's nice and smooth if you're making this a chocolate donut. Add 4 large room temperature eggs. Make sure they are room temperature. This makes for a smoother batter, which makes for a fluffier donut. beat on low for about 10 seconds or just to moisten the dry ingredients. Then increase the speed to medium and beat on medium for about 20 to 30 seconds or just until everything is fully combined. Scrape down the sides of the bowl if needed. Add a half cup of soft butter, make sure it is softened, not melted. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract or extract flavor of your choice. If you're wanting this to be more of a maple flavored, you can use maple extract or almond extract or any other extract that you want, whatever flavor you want your donut to take on. That would be the flavor of extract you would put in. 3 tablespoons of room temperature milk of your choice. Again, make sure this is room temperature. Room temperature ingredients makes for a lighter batter, which makes for a fluffier donut. Beat these together on medium for about 30 seconds or just until everything is fully combined and creamy and you have a smooth batter. Now, if you need to, you can always beat this with a hand mixer or you can just whisk it together by hand. It's a very light batter, so you don't have to worry about doing too much of an arm workout if you're wanting to do this by hand. It's very easy to do. I like my standing mixer because I am a lazy cook. Once the batter is all fully combined and smooth, scrape down the sides again and push all the ingredients to the center of the bowl. Divide the batter evenly between your prepared hot dog bun molds or your foil holders, whichever one you're using, or donut cavities, whatever shape you're making these donuts in, divide it evenly. If you're doing the bars like I am, it's a little over 7 tablespoons for each mold. You don't want to fill the hot dog mold all the way to the top. You're going to fill it a little over halfway, so a little over 7 tablespoons for each mold. If you're doing in a traditional donut pan, then roughly about 3 to 4 tablespoons of the batter in each donut cavity. So if you're doing it in a regular donut pan, it'll probably make about 6 to 8. Just make sure whatever molds that you are using, whether it be the hot dog bun molds or foil holders or the donut cavities, make sure they are very well greased. I just spray them with coconut oil spray and then I make sure it's rubbed around really good. You just want to make sure they are very well greased. That way they'll come out very easily. Once they're all scooped out, then use a knife and smooth down the top of each of the donuts. Make sure the batter is evenly spread throughout the entire mold, whatever mold you may be using. Make sure it is completely even. You want it to cook even and you don't want one side of your donuts to be fluffy and the other side to be flat. So make sure you smooth it out really well. Once the donuts are smooth, place them in your preheated oven and bake them at 350 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes or until a tester comes out clean. Now I'm doing the bars, so it took mine about 17 minutes to get done all the way through. If you're using foil holders, it'll probably take about that same amount of time, 15 to 20 minutes. If you are using a regular donut pan, it may take a little less time, so check it at that 15-minute mark. And if the tester comes out clean, it's done. If it doesn't come out clean, then of course put it in for a little bit longer. But keep an eye on it if you're using the regular donut cavities. Once they're all done baking, remove it from the oven. They will be soft and fragile. As I always say and always will say, gluten-free baked goods always come out soft and fragile. But they will firm up as they cool. Allow them to cool in the molds for about 30 to 45 minutes or until the donuts have firmed up enough where you can remove them easily from your molds. Once they've firmed up, use a knife and gently go around the edges of the donut bar to loosen it just slightly. Be careful because there most likely will be a little bit of warmth still to the donuts, and anytime there's any warmth at all in gluten-free baked goods, they are always very fragile, so just be careful. Once you've loosened it with the knife, then gently shake the mold until the donut bar pops out. If you're using a foil holder, all you need to do is gently loosen the edges with a knife and it should come right out. And again, also, if you're just using the regular donut molds, just gently loosen the edges of the donuts and they should pop right out if you have greased your pans enough. Once the donuts have all been removed, place them on a wire rack and allow them to cool completely. Once they've cooled, you can eat them just as they are with no icing on them if you want to. But of course, I like my flavor and I like my icing, so we are going to ice these bad boys. For the icing, in a medium mixer bowl, whisk 1 large room temperature egg for about 1 minute or until it's combined. Add 1 3/4 cup of powdered Swerve or powdered sweetener of your choice. Make sure you add this in small amounts, about 1 to 2 tablespoons at a time. Whisk in after each addition. So you'd add 1 or 2 tablespoons to whisk in for 10 to 15 seconds or until it's combined. And then add a little bit more, whisk in until the entire 1 3/4 cup of the powdered Swerve is all fully combined, or until the icing is thick and creamy. Once the icing is all mixed together, if you want to, you can add in some food coloring or separate it into bowls and add in different colors if you want different colored icing for your donuts. That's up to you. Halloween's coming up. If you want to make a Halloween donut, you can do that. But for today, I am just going to make white icing. If you want to, you can add in 1 teaspoon of the extract of your choice. I usually use vanilla extract, but if I'm wanting a maple icing, then I'll add maple or whatever flavor I want my icing to be, if you want it to be flavored. Also, you can make this icing as thick or thin as you want to. So if you're just wanting more of a glaze, you can whisk in some milk of your choice, about a tablespoon at a time, until you get the consistency that you want. I like a little bit of a thicker icing, so I don't really add very much milk, if at all. Just keep in mind, the more milk you add to your icing, the greater the amount of icing you are going to have. So if you end up adding a lot of milk, you will most likely have some icing left over, which is fine. You can store it in your refrigerator in an airtight container and it'll keep up to 2 to 3 weeks and it'll be fine. But just keep that in mind. Once your icing's all made, it's the consistency you want, and if you put food coloring, it's the color you want once it's all made and ready to go. Then take your cooled donuts and spread your desired amount of icing evenly across the top. I like a fairly thick layer of icing, not thick enough to be frosting, but I do like it to where it's covering most of the top of the donut. I usually leave a little bit of the edges showing. You can put the icing on however much you want. It's up to you. Also, if you want ideas for different flavors of icings and glaze, I'll put a link in the description to my low-carb donut recipe. The donut recipe itself in that one is not keto friendly, but most of the glaze flavors are. Once the donuts are all coated with the icing, if you want to, you can top them with some sprinkles. And if you want to know how to make 100% keto sprinkles, I will leave a link in the description to my recipe of the keto sprinkles. Once the icing is spread on your donuts how you want them, and whatever toppings, if you want, are put on the top of the icing, then place them back on the wire rack and let them sit for about 15 minutes or so, just to let the icing harden a bit. It doesn't take very long for the icing to harden, but you do want to let it harden a little bit. Once the icing has hardened, then place your desired donut on a plate and eat and enjoy.
And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.